think about it for a second. Your smartphone, a life-saving drug, pretty much every cool gadget you own. They all started as just an idea. But how does that little spark turn into a real, legally protected invention? Well, it's a journey, all right? You could even call it a gauntlet. And today, we're going to walk through every single step.
So, you've had that light bulb moment, right? An idea that you just know could change things. But what do you do now? What's the very next step to make sure that idea is protected? Let's follow the map and find out.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We start with your big idea. Then we survive what I'm calling the first-year gauntlet. After that, we take it global. Then comes the tough part, facing the examiners. And finally, if we make it through all that, we claim the 20-year prize. Let's start at the beginning. All right, section 1, your big idea. You know, having that flash of genius is the fun part. But turning it into something real, that starts with one single official step. And that first step, that first piece of paper, is the Invention Disclosure Form, or IDF for short. This is the official kickoff. It's the very first time your amazing idea actually exists in a real, tangible document that tells your team, hey, I made something. Now, the great thing about the IDF is that it's not some scary, complicated legal document. It's totally confidential, and it doesn't even have to be perfect. You don't even need signatures yet. The whole point is just to get your idea down on paper. And hey, you're not going on this journey alone. You've got a team. Obviously, there's you, the inventor. Then you've got a business developer who's looking at it and asking, okay, but can we sell this? And of course, your patent attorney, who is basically your expert guide through this whole legal maze. So that business developer, their first big job is to fill out what's called a patent approval sheet, or PAS. This is the first real reality check. It goes beyond just how cool the invention is and asks the hard question, is there actually a market for this thing? And right here, we hit our first big gate, our first major decision. If your idea is solid and the business side looks promising, then boom, everything gets signed and the official process kicks off. But if the commercial potential just isn't there, it's a no-go. The process stops right here before you spend any serious money.
All right, so you made it through the first gate. Congratulations. But don't get too comfortable because now the real pressure starts. Welcome to Section 2, the first-year gauntlet. The clock is officially ticking.
This first year is what's known as the priority year. And honestly, it's a brilliant move. It basically locks in your spot in line, but it gives you a full 12 months to gather more data, run more tests, and just generally make your application as strong as it can possibly be.
So while you're busy making your invention even better, the patent office is playing detective. They're searching for something called prior art. This is basically any evidence out there, old patents, articles, anything public that shows your idea has been done before. And believe me, what they find is a huge deal.
So when that year is up, boom, another big checkpoint. If the search for prior art comes up clean and everyone's still excited about the business side, you get the green light to go global. But if they find something that's too similar, or if the commercial interest has cooled off, the application gets pulled.
Okay, you survived the first year. Deep breath. Now it's time to think bigger, way bigger. Welcome to Section 3, where we take your invention to the world using a powerful tool called the PCT.
The PCT, or Patent Cooperation Treaty, is basically a master key for the world. You file one single international application, and it holds your spot in line in over 150 countries all at once. It's an incredibly efficient way to keep your options open. So let's look at the timeline for this global journey. Your priority year ends at 12 months. At 18 months, your application gets published for the whole world to see. But the big one, the one you've got to circle on your calendar, is at 30 months. That's your final deadline to decide which specific countries you actually want to file in. But hold on, before you get to that massive and expensive 30-month deadline, there's another smart little checkpoint around the 2-year mark. You take a look at the early feedback. Are companies still interested? If things aren't looking good, this is another chance to pull the plug and save a lot of money.
And that brings us to the absolute make-or-break moment, the 30-month deadline. Because look, filing in all those countries costs a fortune, so it all boils down to one simple, brutal question. Has a company signed on to license this thing? If the answer is yes, you're in business. If it's no, the journey ends right here.
Wow. Okay, so you found a licensee, you've picked your countries, you're in the home stretch.
But now you've got to face the final bosses, the patent examiners. This is where you really have to fight for your invention.
What happens next is you'll start getting these things called office actions. They're official letters from the examiner. And let me tell you a little secret, they are almost guaranteed to reject some of your claims at first. Don't panic. That's not a no. It's the start of a negotiation.
Really, this whole back and forth comes down to one thing. The examiner will point to all that prior art they found and say, this looks pretty similar. And it's your job, with your attorney, to prove why your invention is truly new and not just an obvious next step.
And this is so important to get. This whole debate, it happens again and again in every single country you filed in. There's no such thing as a world patent. Getting approved in the US means nothing in Germany or Japan. Each one is a brand new battle.
So, after all that, the disclosures, the evaluations, the endless back and forth with examiners all over the world, you've done it. You have officially run the gauntlet. So what's the prize at the end of this crazy journey?
It's this 20 years of protection. That's 2 decades where you, and only you, have the right to make, use, or sell your invention. And here's the best part. That 20-year clock started ticking way back on day 1, the very first day you filed. It's a pretty incredible marathon, isn't it? From just a little spark in your brain to a real, legally protected asset that's recognized all over the world. Your idea is now safe. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?